Welcome to Self-Love Portrait, a show that gives you a deeper look into a female's journey of self-love, acceptance, body image, and personal growth. Join me for honest conversations with inspiring women about self-care, healing, and dealing with the challenges of life. Trust me, you're not alone in this journey. I'm your host, Idit Nissenbaum, a multimedia artist and a self-love portrait expert who have photographed and empowered dozens of women around the world so they can show up and build their own self-confidence and express their true essence. This is where you discover that loving yourself is not a selfish act, but it's actually the starting point of every healing journey. I invite you to listen, learn, and be inspired to love yourself more and taking care of your mind, body, and soul. Hello, gorgeous, and welcome to the podcast. Thank you for joining me today as I'm hosting the amazing Veronique Ficheux. Hi, Veronique, and welcome.
Thank you.
I'm so happy to have you here, and as we are after the Naked Truth photo ceremony, I want to thank you for your time and your beautiful energy and presence. Maybe do you want first to tell us about yourself?
Tell you about me. I'm going to be 55 next week, actually. A fact that I am inordinately proud of. I'm from France. I've lived in Asia for 25 years and 26 now. And I'm a single mom. I have a nearly 16-year-old going on 26 son. And I work as a coach, a healer, and a trainer. And that's been a very important part of me. I have this belief that suffering in life is optional. So part of my mission in life is to help relieve that. And that means that I've been doing a lot of work on trauma, acceptance, gratitude, all these sort of things.
Yay, beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so the question that I love to start with is, what does self-love mean to you?
Self-love is about, for me, loving and accepting yourself just the way you are and appreciating the many things that make us beautiful, make us whole, make us who we are, because every single one of us is a miracle. One of the things I read a few months ago was that the chances of you or me or anyone being born, put on this earth is apparently 1 in 140 billions. I don't know how it's calculated, but even if it's just 1 in a billion, it's a miracle.
Yeah,
I was going to say it's a fucking miracle that we're here. And in a lot of ways it is, right? It's like that specific person with those specific experiences, those genes, and coming out in this body shape, eye color and everything, that is a miracle.
It's true.
So yeah, that's part of self-love, is accepting that every one of us is a miracle the way we are. And then that we also have the self-determination to be able to change it if we need to. And that's the other beauty of every human being, is that we have this possibility. We can be the master of our fates. We can change what we think, how we think. We can change our bodies if we want to, if we really want to. And I'm not talking plastic surgery, but we can change what we eat and change our shape, or even just restore our health to the way it should be. Yeah, there's an element of self-determination, is accepting who you are and also knowing that you have all the powers to be who you want to be. Or the wisdom to know that you can't do it. Or that you shouldn't do it. That's the other thing.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
It's really about accepting and knowing that I have the ability to change if I really want to.
Yeah. And you know, deciding to change doesn't mean I hate this, I need to change it. It's actually the best and the most efficient changes always come from a place of love. It's like, I deserve better. I deserve to love myself. And I love myself by changing this circumstance. I love myself by letting go of this trauma. I love myself by letting go of this drama. For instance, I mean, a lot of these days, I find that a lot of people live in drama.
Yeah.
It's how they feel. But how amazing would it be if we just felt just now? You know, and it doesn't have to be about feeling bad or anything, or just be grateful that the sun is shining.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or that
So
it's
true.
raining and the fields need it. That's also true.
I really like that, what you said about, I love myself and this is why I'm going to change it.
Yeah.
I love myself and this is why I'm going to improve it because I deserve better.
Yeah.
It's so true.
Yeah.
And it's such a healthy approach to change, because sometimes you think, oh, I need to accept myself as I am and that's it. But it's also accepting and be aware of the things that I know I deserve and I can make better for myself.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I always talk about, and we just did, is the Serenity Prayer, which they use in AA, but I think really applies across the board, is grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And that's actually a really tricky one, is the wisdom to know the difference. Because all of us, we are so conditioned to success, to strength, to, you know, all of this. And there are times where it's just a good idea to step back and take a deep breath and just accept the breathing. That's how I see it, at least. And in general, I find that it's a philosophy that served me fairly well.
Beautiful. Thank you.
So, you're welcome.
How do you practice self-love?
Well, many ways. I have kind of a menu of things that I know are good for me. And most of the time I incorporate at least once or two in a day. Spending time writing something like morning pages, or even just goal setting, which seems more like a pushy things, but actually works for me. Knowing what makes you happy, knowing what makes you smile. Sometimes it's just about taking a deep breath. And Arianna Huffington wrote a book called Thrive. And in Thrive, she talks a lot about meditation, which I'm not that great at, but she also talks about the space between the breath. And sometimes it's just about stopping yourself and taking that space between the breath. And that's a way to love yourself, just bringing that oxygen into your cells and reconnecting to who you are. For me, it's also choosing to spend time with my son, if possible, choosing to spend like 5 minutes with my eyes out looking at the rice field, or appreciating the funny colored bird that just flew by, or just, you know, appreciating funky outfits sometimes when I drive my bike. But that's part of self-love, right? Yeah. And accepting. The bigger thing I've been doing, which I'm not great at yet, but nobody is in a lot of ways, is just saying, okay, it's time for me to stop and actually rest. And my body does not want to do anything else. And I say, no, you got to do this and you got to do that, blah, 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 blah. And just say, no, I'm just going to stop.
Yeah.
And that's hard for everybody.
Definitely.
So,
especially in today's world, something that I've also been practicing and is to rest and not feel bad about it.
Yes. And not feel guilty.
Yes.
Yeah. We've installed these beautiful ideas about success and possibilities and this and that. And the feminine part of us actually needs to just go with the flow. And sometimes the flow is to just say, okay, now is rest time, and literally go with the flow, as in, you know, we have flows and we have time in our week or in our month where we need to have more rest. And, closing your eyes. One of the big things about self-care that I find I need to do and other people need to do as well is, just go to sleep earlier, and not necessarily waking earlier. I try. And the occasional sunrise is appreciated, but really go to sleep earlier, because those hours before 12 are so important.
Yeah,
so,
it's true.
Yeah.
And just our brain is so stimulated during the day. Yeah. And it's just like tap into this rest, and also rest, like sometimes also with the screen, and just do something that nourish yourself before you go to bed. Yeah.
And the other thing is eating consciously. Eating, what does my body feel like eating right now?
Yeah.
And some people say, well, the answer is always chocolate, and that's okay. You do need other form of sustenance, but just like, what does my body feel like eating? And being aware, for some people, it's a challenge, but being aware of the signals.
Yeah.
Right. Especially us women will tend to forget until we're starving. That's never a good situation.
No, yeah. Because I'm like, okay, I will eat anything.
Yes, exactly. Anything and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So the next question is, what are your daily practices of self-care?
Well, 5 minutes to myself. That's definitely a daily practice. And another one that I use, maybe not daily, but regularly, is tapping, EFT tapping, which is a tool I use a lot with my clients, but I also use it for me because it helps just release the stuff, the tensions, scanning my body for areas of tension and just breathing into them. That's part of my self-care. The usual, I guess, showering, making sure I wear something that makes me happy. Sometimes the question is, what do I want to wear today? Sometimes it takes time for my brain to tell me. But that's part of self-care as well.
Definitely.
I think it's more awareness, if that makes sense.
More aware to what you feel at the present moment.
Yes. And being present, actually. There's another saying, I'm quite fond of these kind of things, but that says that depression is about the past, anxiety is about the future, but gratitude brings you in the present. So always asking myself, what am I grateful for right now, is something that always grounds me, brings me back where I'm supposed to be, and just makes me appreciate the little things.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be like, people have this idea that if you're looking at what you're grateful for, it's going to be the big things. But the truth is, the little things are actually exponential. Right. So
yeah,
I'm grateful that it's sunny outside, and I'm going to be grateful when those clouds actually break and it gets wet, because we also need the rain.
Yeah. That's so true. Yeah. And those big things that we're grateful for, they always come through like the small things in our life that change everything, or any situation. Even the ability, to wake up and be healthy, which we think it's small, but it's the biggest thing.
We take it for granted, and you're right, it is the biggest. I mean, one of my best friend has MS, and she's now in a wheelchair, and we don't realize how lucky we are to be mobile, to be able to travel without needing a minder or something, or how lucky we are to just breathe on our own. I always say, one of the beauty about the other than conscious mind is it does all of that. Thankfully, we don't need to remember to breathe. Yeah. We don't need to remember for our heart to beat, because there probably would be no human race if we didn't need to do that. Right?
That's true.
And taking the time to be grateful for that is also a great thing.
Yeah, definitely. It's a good reminder. And how do you nourish your mind, body, and soul?
Well, I'm blessed because I live in Bali. And so I'm able to nourish my mind and body and soul a lot more in this place than I used to be in Hong Kong, for instance. And some of the things that I do here pretty regularly is go to sound healing, go to the temple, the water temple, and have a water blessing. If I am in Bali, I will make it a point to go to kirtan and sing mantras, even though, as my son puts it, I can't sing, which is true, but that's okay because nobody cares. Neither do I.
It's the vibration of the heart.
Yes, exactly. And I can sing well with others. I go dancing certain ways and things like that. So that's one of the things that I do. Daily, gratitude is a very big one. And open, which I use all the time. It's kind of like this constant prayer that goes on. I joke that I have a 6-track mind, and one of the tracks basically run, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you, pretty much all the time. And that's been helpful actually in many ways. That's some of the things that I do to take care of myself. Food wise, well, some days are wiser than others, and I don't beat myself up about it.
Which makes it so different and so important.
I am a natural intermittent faster. Not that it does much for my weight, but I have learned to not eat because it is time to eat. I'll eat generally when I'm hungry and consciously as much as possible. So that's, and then there's the little things that you do, like when I can do it, I do oil pulling, with coconut oil. Of course, we have plenty here. Yeah. I'll do hot water and lemon pretty much every morning. My coffee in the morning is usually bulletproof, or my version of it. Right? And these are some of the things I do. Yeah. And there's always a list of other things I could be doing.
Yeah. But we always learn, and I feel like also the practice is changing during the time, because sometimes you do something for a while, like, okay, I'm ready for
I'm done with that one and ready for something else. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And that's accepting that as well, because I find it hard when people become so dogmatic about things. It's got to be a certain way, right? It's like, okay. And then generally what follows is I'm better than you because I'm able to do it this way. And that really, pardon my French, bugs the crap out of me. So as much as possible, I watch out for those judgments from my side as well, because I don't want to have them.
So what kind of issues have you had with body image?
Well, I always was big. My mom used to joke that even when I was a baby, I couldn't sit. I would roll. That was the first joke. That was cute up to a point. My mom's bit is kind of built the same way as me, but much shorter. So she's kind of me shrunk, right? She was never super skinny or anything like that. And I guess in her mind, she was supposed to be. So my size was always a challenge. I got as tall as I am, or 1.75 meters when I was 11.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was never a small size. It just never happened. And I did not particularly mind, except of course when my very large ballet teacher told me I was too fat to be on points, which I cried about for 2 days.
2 days is okay.
Yeah. Well,
I feel like the ballet can be so crucial. It is.
Ballet can be absolutely crushing. But I've always loved ballet. And when I was an adult, I actually got to take ballet classes in Paris. That's the one thing I miss from living in Paris. I had an amazing teacher, and he always knew what we could do. Right. But anyway, so it's always been about the size of me, and I've been through diets and things. And, even when I was pregnant, I was in Singapore when I was pregnant. And of course, they're not necessarily used to having big, tall Western women that are pregnant as well. So in their mind, just because my butt was a certain size, I automatically had to have gestational diabetes, which I don't. And I actually tend to be the other way around.
What a difference in the culture.
Well, yes, I guess it's a cultural difference. And, but at the same time, the automatic assumption of people that see my size is that I have to have high cholesterol, high sugar, potentially diabetes, high blood pressure, blah, blah, blah. And I have the numbers to prove it, that I'm the other way around. If in anything, I've actually struggled with low blood pressure rather than, and so it bugs the crap out of me that people have those association to the fact that a bigger body is not a healthy body, because I'm actually super healthy. I don't get sick. I have a really good immune system. I take care of it. My body works. Yeah. I guess I could be a bit slimmer. And I enjoy it when I am. But if at the moment it's not what my body wants, I'm not going to kill myself for it. I'm not going to make myself bulimic or anything like that, or throw up, because I did do that for a while. So because I'd lost weight and then I was eating a bit more and I didn't want to put the weight on. So I started throwing up until I think, what the fuck are you doing?
Wow. Happened to you in late age?
No, it happened to me maybe 20 years ago. Yeah.
So
Something like that.
still late.
Oh yeah.
'Cause usually
Late,
it happens,
late in life. Yes. Yes. No, I don't know if it's a blessing, but I was actually blessed in high school to have two friends that were anorexic. So I knew very well what I did not want to tend towards.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I was also blessed to have, and I guess that was a blessing, have a mother that instilled in me the fact that I was intelligent and that I could and would take intelligent decisions. Though some people would care to, point out that maybe what I eat is also part of intelligent decisions. But, the truth is I don't eat that much or that badly.
Yeah.
But my body likes to hold on to things. That's okay.
Yeah.
I like my body most of the time the way it is. It's been a struggle because there's been certain environments where I was reminded that I'm not perfect enough to be part of the environment. And that also bugs the crap out of me. And I want to go and smash something. And then I remind myself that there are more good than bad that's done out of these environments. And that if I want to fit in it, I have a choice. And I can also have the choice of not being part of it.
Definitely. Especially in choosing not to be part of a society that tells you that this is the ideal beauty. And if you're not like this, then you're not good enough. For me, my own experience is learning that it doesn't matter how much I weigh. It doesn't matter how I look today. I am loved always, no matter how I look like, if I'm 10 kilos more, 10 kilos less. And instead of thinking that I need to look in a certain way to be loved, no, that's like the first wrong idea that I just released and let it go. And we are loved.
If people love you for the way you look, is it real love? Is it real love? Or, they can appreciate the way you look. That's a different thing, you know. And thankfully, there's enough people around that appreciate the size of my backside and everything else. But
to add your sexy backside.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, what can I say? I'm a hot, sexy mama. And if you don't like it, you don't look. That's it. I years ago decided that, hey, I'm voluptuous. As I say, you don't like it, you don't look, and that's it. But at the same time, it is very superficial otherwise, right? If somebody's going to love you, it's about the qualities as well. If you're in an intimate relationship, for instance, it's got to be, does my body work for you?
Yeah.
Right? And if the answer is yes, well, my body works for you at any size.
Yeah, that's true.
And for me, that kind of is a deal breaker, right? And the truth is, there are people for whom my body works at every size. Thank you very much.
Yeah. And so I think something that sometimes people tend to forget is that our body was meant to born in a certain way to develop, and it's going to change. Every day our body is changing, new cells from the inside and outside, and decayed.
Yes.
So if we attach to the outside, we are just going to suffer.
And yeah, exactly. It's a complete recipe for suffering. And hence, Instagram world, cosmetic surgery, people that look like everybody else.
Yeah.
It's just a bit strange, really. The individuality of people is not as celebrated at the moment. And I think it's a shame because everybody has something to bring. Everybody is beautiful.
True.
In one of the therapies that I've worked with a long time ago was I have parts that I like and I have parts that I don't like, but they're all me.
Yeah.
Right? We all have those. Today you might think, I have a pimple on my chin.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't like that one today. That's okay. It's still your chin.
Yeah. Definitely.
Or it's not the surgeon's chin.
And know that it's temporary as well.
It's a pimple. Even a fat ass can be temporary if you decide that you want to get rid of it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. As you say, it cells and everything, it's temporary.
Yeah. So I think you already mentioned that, but do you think that issues with body image affected your relationship with food?
I think it did for a long time. But I also have a very strong relationship to pleasure. And, there are definitely times where I will eat for pleasure. And if I eat food, I want to be able to enjoy it as well. Not everybody's like that. There's a lot of people that eat because they need to eat, right? They need the fuel. Me, I actually appreciate food. I learned that, I guess, as a kid. I always loved the taste of things, and some other tastes I don't like, so I don't have them. Right. But yes, my relationship to food was skewed, for instance, by trying to really keep my weight in check. So as I mentioned before, potentially eating something and then throwing up because I wanted to eat it, but I don't want it to stick to my hip and everything, which is a very unhealthy pattern.
Yeah.
Some of the words, I shouldn't eat that. I know it's not good for me. I shouldn't eat that. That annoys the crap out of me. And I, as much as possible, try to eradicate it. So
that's good.
Yeah. But it has. And I'm guessing after having had my son, and I was 39 at the time, so I was older already and I'd worked on those things. After having had my son and, appreciating the wisdom of being older, it was a conscious decision to just stop it. Basically, stop doing it. It's not helping.
That's good. Yeah. It's like an angel. He came to save you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And are you struggling to love yourself nowadays?
Well, no, I don't think so. There are times where it's like, oh yeah, my tummy. Oh yeah, my ass. Oh, I don't look good on that picture. Oh my God, I look so much bigger than those people. Well, it's what you get when you hang out with really small Asian people. It takes two of them to make one of me. And, but at the same time, no, I don't think, it's like, I'm who I am.
Yes.
Just annoys me when people make a decision based on what I look like.
It's their choice.
It's their problems. That's exactly what I was going to say.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And in what ways can you give yourself more love?
Well, some of it is about eating what makes me feel good. I've been traveling a lot recently, and there are times where I just eat because I'm hungry, and it's not necessarily something I'm enjoying because I need food in me. A lot of it is rice. I mean, I don't dislike rice, don't get me wrong, but there are times where I'm like, you know what? I really would like to eat something else.
Yeah.
And actually listening to that and say, well, I'll eat a little bit and maybe later find a meal that really satisfies me. That, I guess that would be a form of a bit more self-love, and sleeping more and getting a bit more of other exercises, especially when I travel, making the time to dance and move my body and these kind of things. That
it's so true. It's so important as well.
Yeah. Not so easy though.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. Definitely when you travel, it's so hard to find this. Yeah. You started this routine and you love it, and then you travel and it's like break this routine and going back to it.
Yes. And putting in me time, putting in, not 5 minutes, but more like, okay, I need 40 minutes to myself, or even 30. I need 30 minutes just to myself with nobody else around. That's not so easy as well when you're traveling with a group and working with people and everything, but that's important.
Yeah. I hope for you to find this time.
Yes.
And dedicate.
Me too.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now I have some questions about the Naked Truth photo ceremony.
Mm-hmm.
So first one, how did you feel before the photo ceremony?
I think I was kind of excited. I was looking forward to doing something just for me, in the middle of the week where I could be working instead. So that there was this part, and curiosity, because I was curious to see how it was framed, how you were going to create it and everything. So that was good.
Yay. That's awesome.
Yeah. I was looking forward to it.
And what did you feel during the photo shoot?
Occasionally self-conscious, I guess. Even though you like yourself, there's times where you think, oh, what is this going to look like on the pictures? Occasionally self-conscious. There was certain parts that were, I think, very cathartic and needed. other people's wisdom is a good idea when you're stuck in a pattern. And I appreciate that wisdom.
Yay.
So yeah, it was good. I really enjoyed this.
Nice. And how did you feel after?
I feel relaxed. I feel like I have a little bit more clarity around particular the issue we were discussing. That it's not that big a part of my identity, even though it is, either way, if that makes sense. And that I certainly can live without. So that's a good thing. And I feel celebrated, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. I like that. Celebrate yourself, your beauty, your essence, your divine.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what have you learned about yourself from being photographed?
Well, there was a couple of really interesting questions in there. I'm not going to say the questions because I want to keep the surprise for the people that are going. But I was like, "Oh, really? That's interesting. Why are you coming up with this answer?" So that was kind of cool, and I enjoyed that part.
Yeah.
I don't know about learned per se, but more reaffirmed, brought back to the fore.
Yeah.
Certain aspect that were hidden under or pushed aside, ignored,
Yeah.
So.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah.
And did you discover something new about yourself?
As I said before, I think it's more like renewed, uncovered, again. Remembered, yes. Yes. Things that may not have made as important and that need to be.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And do you feel you were connected to yourself and observe your feelings and emotions more than usual because of the presence of the camera?
Yeah, I think not uncomfortable in front of the camera, which was a process that took a long time as well. Like me getting appreciative of the eye of the camera in a way. So I wasn't uncomfortable, but it takes time, and it's a process to accept somebody else's eyes in a way that is recorded as well. Right? It's not the same as having somebody look at you the way you are. And then when the camera stops on certain things, and when we looked at the pictures as well, it's like, I always joke that my face is so mobile that when you take pictures of me speaking, you always get faces, literally, right? Yeah. So it's so many faces of me, and you really get faces. It's not like, oh my God, she looks good in every shot, or my face makes faces. Funny,
especially when we talk, because we move. Of course.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And that's to be celebrated as well.
Yes,
right?
Yeah.
So that was fun.
Definitely. And by the way, I think everyone that I photograph, doesn't matter if it's in this project or other projects, while we talk, we find ourselves, oh wow, we really get into these weird positions, or I didn't know my face can do that.
That is true.
So it's cool to see that, and because usually we don't see ourselves talking.
No, we don't see ourselves, and more importantly, we might see ourselves, but we don't see the still shot of that specific second or a split second.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah,
that's what it is. That's what it is. And so being able to watch all of that and say, oh my God, you need to erase that. It's a disgusting picture of myself, which is what a lot of people would do, actually is part of the fun and the acceptance and the self-love.
The
appreciative eye.
Yeah.
Always.
And why do you think self-love is important?
So, and I'm going to share a story with you. When I work with people, I use a technique called emotional freedom technique a lot, because it's a technique that empowers other people to work for themselves. They don't necessarily need me to do it. But the original positive statement in EFT is, I love and accept myself. And a lot of people cannot even say that. And I went to the stage of now I actually say I am open to loving and accepting myself, because people can say that, can accept that even if they don't do it today, they can do it in the future. It's kind of like putting your foot in the door.
Wow.
And leaving the door open. Even if the door is open a sliver, it's not closed any longer. And when people have self-love, they start developing more acceptance, more self-esteem, more ability to say no if it's not good for them, more power in a way. So I think in a lot of ways, having enough self-love is about developing more power. And of course, some people would argue that the opposite side of that, or the far side of that, is narcissists. And that's true too, but most people are not.
That's true. And I think with narcissism is like everything that will be extreme is not good, is not healthy.
No.
Yeah. Well, I really got emotional from what you said about that. Some people, it's hard for them to say, I love myself, because I was in this place. And to change it to, I'm open to love myself. And I remember this moment when I said to myself, I want to love myself. I want to love myself. And then I was like, I love myself. And I felt that.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah, it was the most important moment in my life, to realizing that I can love myself, and how I didn't love myself before, because no one teaches that in school, or our parent is like, you got good grades, good, we love you. It's like, no.
Yeah, and then also the association of loving yourself with, well, if you love yourself, you're selfish. That's what we learn.
Yeah.
And that's got nothing to do with being selfish, because that's also a metaphor I use a lot with people, is you cannot refill people's cup out of an empty cup. If you do not love yourself enough, if you do not give yourself enough self-care and self-love, there is no way you can help others.
So true.
People say, well, I don't want to be selfish and this and that. It's like, you need to be selfish. It's self-preservation.
Yeah. Especially in the selfie world. Because sometimes I say to people, I do self-portraits, and they're like, oh, isn't that like selfish? I'm like, selfie is selfish. Self-portrait is self-love.
I love it.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And exactly like you said about this analogy with the cup. If I can't have that within me, then how I can give it to others? It's impossible.
Yeah.
So we first need to find that within ourselves. Then we can share it.
Yeah, absolutely.
In what ways do you heal yourself?
So, the bigger things for me are using EFT tapping especially when I have big spikes of negative emotions. That's a very good way to bring it down, cool it down. I also voice out things. I just say it. So I'm not the kind usually that will stay angry, for instance, but I might just have a poof, finished, right?
Yeah. Releasing.
Yeah. Exactly. Release, let go, passed on, finished. So that's one thing. Ho'oponopono I use a lot. I also meditate. Well, maybe not meditate, but spend a bit of time doing oneness practices and things like that.
Yeah.
Going to different things that helps me stay grounded and healing, putting my feet in the grass and going to sea.
Oh, yes.
The sea is a great healer for me, and it's something that is necessary. So,
yeah. What was your favorite part of the photo ceremony?
Yeah, I think the last part, in part because after a while you start relaxing into your body and relaxing into being there and everything. I felt pretty relaxed most of it anyway. Yeah. And I love that the questions that you ask actually created reflection. So it was just not like a mindless photo shoot type thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was very different.
Yay. Thank you for that reflection.
You're welcome.
And so how did you feel that this photo ceremony maybe heal you or help you to release and let go?
I think part of it comes down to celebrating everything that I am. Every part, the parts I like, the parts I don't like, as I said earlier, but also about releasing certain parts that are not serving me, that I've been holding on to. So I think that was powerful.
Yes. And What do you wish you had known when you were a little girl?
I wish I'd known two things, actually. That my imperfections, and I'm putting that in brackets, were perfect. And that I did not have to bend myself over backwards and into a pretzel to fit into other people's idea of what perfect was. And the second thing I wish I'd known was that it was okay to say no.
Definitely. Yes. Okay. What advice do you want to give to yourself right here, right now?
Right here, right now.
Yes.
Well, in a way, it is similar, which is keep going. Right? What you do, the way you are, it's perfect the way you are. And just keep going. Trust yourself. Trust yourself.
So important. And do you have any advice for other women?
Plenty. I make a living out of it. So it is part of what I do anyway. So yes, I always have advice. Sometimes too much. But the bigger thing is let it go. Just let it go, just as much as you can. If you have things that are traumatizing you, find someone to help you and let go of the traumas. It is one of my pet peeves, people that, when you go to therapists and you keep having to tell the trauma over and over and basically re-traumatize yourself. And there is so much beauty in this world. There is so much positive energy in this world once you decide to be out of the trauma. A lot of us, because we live in this world where you need to be noticed and everything, we kind of learn to work with drama all the time. And the truth is, when you are completely present in who you are, drama is not necessary. At least not the drama that hurts you.
Yeah.
So just enjoy every minute, practice gratitude, journal if you can, spend time in nature, find what makes you smile, find what makes you happy, and make sure to have some of that every day.
I like that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank
you. I like that too.
Thank you so much, Veronique.
You're so welcome.
Yeah, it was a pleasure to have you and to have this beautiful experience with you.
Thank you. It was very beautiful and I really appreciated it. Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening. I hope you know you are beautiful and powerful the way you are. If you want to discover more about the Naked Truth photo ceremony, please check the details down below this podcast. Have an amazing week ahead, full of love and light.